So, good Monday morning to everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. I wanted to talk with you today about two things. One, about the volley of a conversation, and I'll explain what that means. And then I want to show you guys how to make a page in boards that is sort of like a landing page, like a website landing page that you can build super easy, and you can text somebody and it has the videos already in there, it has your verbiage, it has a button to your own direct website. You can put whatever you want in it, and it's pretty cool. So I have one both for Juice Plus products and then also for Tower Garden information. And I'll show you a post that people have been sharing and that's getting some good feedback, and also has the new affiliate verbiage in it. So it's kind of cool. So the first thing I wanted to chat with you guys about is the volley of a conversation. So I don't remember, I swear it was like in a movie, it was something that we were watching. And I can't remember what it was in, but she was teaching or talking to somebody about how to have a good conversation. And so my 17-year-old, her boyfriend is super shy. Like, we love him, but every time you meet him, it's like the first time every time you see him, it's like the first time you've ever met him. Like, he's just so nervous, and he's been like with her for a year and a half now. And we're always like, Matthew, you know us, we love you. Like, why are you so nervous? And he just really has never been taught that much of like how to relate to other people and how to connect. And I just thought, how many other people are in that same boat? He's obviously super shy, like he's an introvert, and that's who he is, right? Like, that's not going to change. That's his personality. And yet there's the EQ side of our life. That's the emotional intelligence side of our life that really has to be developed, no matter where you are on a scale from super or introverted. Like, all of them need to have, whatever, you are on that scale. It's still, conversation doesn't always come easy, I guess is what I'm saying. So if you think about on this side of the scale, somebody is like super outgoing. They're, kind of loud when you're talking to them. Their voice is loud. They're excited. They're animated, and they're just, they're just a big personality. Okay. So that's somebody on this side. And you probably are thinking of somebody right now in your life that is that way. My daughter has a friend that when I mentioned that to her and Matthew, like instantly they knew who I was talking about without saying his name. He's just super big personality. And then you have her boyfriend, he's funny. He's got a great sense of humor. It's just super dry. He doesn't say much, but when he does, it's funny. And we're all laughing, and like, you're like, you should interact more. That was great. Say something again. Super loyal, very sweet to her. He's a great guy, but he doesn't want to stay on that introverted side. Like, it bothers him that he has a hard time with the conversations. So her other friend that's super loud, super big, he has to find a way to come into the middle and have a conversation. And he can. He lives his life most of the time over here, really big, but he can find a way. You can have a conversation with them, and you can get into a deeper conversation. He can calm down and have a discussion with you. So he's had to learn how to do that. And I think that's easier for an extrovert to find the place to come to the middle, that it's just easier. And then somebody who's on the introverted side, he's going to have to work and practice and really get to the point where he can come to a middle and have a conversation comfortably and confidently without second guessing himself. So it's going to take him, I think, a lot more practice of getting to that middle ground. So some of us live maybe here, where we're more on the extroverted side, but we're not so big, or we're more on the introverted side, but we don't feel quite that quiet, or maybe you did as a child. I've heard that many times where as a kid, as a teenager, super shy, didn't interact much with people, but then as an adult, like you really can't live life that way, right? Like you have to be able to have conversations. So you have IQ, which is your intelligence quotient, and then you have EQ, which is your emotional. That's how you can relate to other people, how you can interact with other people, those connections that you're able to make. And it's been argued that EQ is more important than IQ. Somebody who's super smart will also have a hard time getting into a conversation because they want to tell you what they know, right? Somebody who's has a good high EQ, they're interested in the other person. They've learned that skill. And so they know how to volley a conversation well. They know how to work well with other personalities and other people. You know, Jared jokes with me that that's my husband. He'll say, like, Stacey, you could get along with anybody. And I have different like friends that are like really very, very different, but I love them. Like I have that's easy for me. I'm definitely more on the extroverted side. Jarrett jokes, like his favorite book that he's ever read is I Hate People. And it's a book that talks about like what happens, how do you deal with people at the water cooler at the office if you are the introvert? And it like teaches you how to deal with different personalities. And we joke about that because he doesn't enjoy being with people that much. Over the years, definitely has gotten better because I've like pulled him in of, no, we need people in our lives. Like we need friendships and connection. And so he has learned over time, but he was definitely more on the quiet side. Can you imagine if we were both talking all the time or if we were both quiet all the time? Like it wouldn't be so fun. So we are a good balance to each other. But that emotional skill set of being able to relate to people is important. So what this video, and I wish I can remember what it was from, talked about in teaching somebody how to have a conversation. And so we talked about this with Matthew the other day. I just said, hey, I watched this movie. And he's usually very open to what I have to say, which is good. But I told him kind of all of that. We discussed that scale. And so I said, let's just practice. So what we're looking for is a conversation that goes back and forth. So think about a volleyball. You're sending the ball over the net back to the other person, and then that person takes that information and sends something back to you, and you're going back and forth. Now, the point is not to get to the net and slam it down. Like that ends the conversation. We're not wanting to spike that ball into their court. You're not trying to win the conversation. You're trying to keep the ball in the air back and forth. And when you're sending that conversation over, you're sending it in a question. Okay, so the volley is usually a question, either a new question to get the conversation going, or it's a question on what they already shared with you. So it's a deepening of the conversation, that's interesting, tell me more. And I've used that sentence many times, even if I'm just like, I sat next to this guy in the airplane one time, crazy thought process. I've never sat by anyone like that, but it was so interesting to talk to him. Like one of the things, we got into a spiritual conversation and I asked him, who is Jesus to you? And he said, Jesus is a reincarnated horse. And I was like, that's a new one. I've never heard of that one. So I just said, that's really interesting. Like, tell me more about that. And I was just curious, like, where did that come from? And so we had a whole hour-long conversation with this really very different thinking person that I still remember that conversation. It was a very unique, connection, and it was a good practice of having this conversation. So we started practicing with Matthew to where we would come up with these scenarios of, okay, I am your friend's grandmother and we're sitting next to each other at a birthday party and we're eating cake. Okay, let's go. I'll start the conversation. So I would start the conversation and then I would say, okay, remember, let's keep the ball going. Let's keep that volley going. Ask me another question. And at first he was like, I have no idea. Like, you're a grandmother. What do I have to connect with you? So then I would have to say, okay, what about this, like you've driven by her house and you've wondered what it was like inside or how long she's lived here. And he's like, okay. So then he would ask the question, and then we did it a couple of different scenarios. And then we decided every time he comes over, we're going to come up with this new scenario and have this conversation. So I was just thinking, how much does that apply to what we share with our business and our product? Can we have a volleying conversation where we send back we're sending information, but how do we get them to respond back? And I have found that always, if I don't end the conversation with a question, it lays flat, even if it's through text, especially if it's through text. I would say it's easier to get in conversation on the phone. And last week, I spent a lot of time on the phone with team members that are not really engaged right now. And I just called them and then texted them, because nobody answers their phone right away, and said, hey, I've got something I really want to share with you. And then there were two things that I wanted to share, but I really just wanted to connect with them again. And we had great conversations, and they came back to Juice Plus, even though like the conversation was just about them. So it was asking questions. What are they doing? What's going on in their life? Where are their kids at? And we kind of volleyed back and forth. But I wonder if sometimes we don't recognize that in new team members of how much they may struggle, because if you've never had a business before and you've never had a business like this where it is so relational, right, guys? Like it's so relational. You're walking into somebody's like health journey with them. And so you're trying to relate to them. But if you don't know them, a lot of times it is like cold market people, if you will. How do we get to know them to build that trust where they like us, they know us, and they trust us? That's who people buy from. Right. So, how do we get to that point? And a volleying conversation is one of those ways. So I'd just like to open that up. Do you guys have anything to add to that? Anything to say? Does that connect with you at all? Remember, you guys are muted if you want to say something.
I think that it's so important for us to learn the skill, and it's hard, because sometimes when you're in conversation, you hear something and it reminds you of something in your life. So then we were talking last night, I had the kids over and I was telling them this story, and then it reminded them of something about them. And then the conversation went in an entire different direction. Instead of it falling back and forth, wow, that's amazing. Tell me more about that, and I do that too. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really good. And it also, I think, shows that you are really curious about the other person, not just wanting to get your agenda across.
Yeah. And can you guys think back to a conversation you've had where you really felt heard, or you felt like it was a real connection? Like you walk away from that conversation different, right? Like it feels different than a sales conversation or something like that. Like it's noticeably, you feel better. And we want people to feel better when they walk away from us, having that connection with us. Anyone else? All right. Well, maybe practice with your family. If you have teenagers, practice with them, because that is a skill that is learned over time. And I used to do this with my kids when they were little. And because I had learned this in our business, and I would say, okay, girls, because they were both more shy. And I would say, okay, girls, we're going to lunch with my friends and your friends, but I'm going to bring you into a conversation. I'm going to ask you a question to share something with them that you've been doing. And maybe at that point I knew what it was. And here's how you are going to respond. Like, this is what I'm looking for. And so I reminded Brielle of that when we were talking with Matthew, and she's like, I hated that when we were little. I hated that you would tell us, I'm going to bring you into this conversation and this is what I'm going to ask. And I would make them come over and I would say, it was just casual. Nobody else knew what I was doing, but I was training them of how to have a conversation. They're both 17 and 18, and they can have conversations with adults and have been able to for years, and are not like super awkward or strange about it. They're polite in the conversation. when they were little, afterwards, I would say, great job. You said, yes, ma'am. That was awesome. When you said, yes, ma'am, you responded back. And then, Ansley, I like how you asked her a question. And that was really good. And so I would like coach them on how the conversation went. But I would tell them, smile, like make your face say that you're pleased to meet them. You know, a good handshake. I would teach them and practice a good handshake, no limp fish, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, if you recognize that one of your team members or yourself is just kind of weak or in that place is an area of their life that needs worked on, step into that with them. If they're open to it, practice having conversations like that because it can really encourage them. And there are introverts that do really well with Juice Plus because they're the listeners. They know how to listen. We don't have to teach them how to listen. You have to teach me how to listen because I'm the chatty Kathy, right? But somebody who's more on the introverted side, they're great at listening. They've already got that down. So then teaching them how to have that conversation. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. And let me share my screen. And we're going to go to boards just on the computer because it will be easier to do it here than I can show you how to do it on my phone or on our phone. There's some screen sharing option that I want to learn, but I don't exactly have it down and we probably don't have time for me to practice it. So we'll just do it on here. But what I want to show you guys today is a way that you can make a landing page, if you will, sort of like a web page that has all of your information. So I'm going to show you mine first once I'm in here, and then I'll show you how to make it. And then I'll send you guys an audio where Julie Herbst explains it. So I'm guessing you're all on boards. Are you guys on boards so far? Okay, loving it. Are you loving it? I'm loving it. It's so great. So I have the Campbell team board. I think all of you guys probably have that too. And then I have my own board that I made. So have you guys made your own board before? Okay, and there is instructions on how to do it. Maybe it's on that one, but you make your own board. And then these are the 2 pages. And I don't know why mine spin like this, but they still work. So you can text them to someone or you can, you just can send that to them. So this is the Tower Garden one. So when I text this, it's one link and it's a boards link, but it says Tower Garden info from Stacy. And then it will have the boards logo, which I don't love that. In Messenger, it says Tower Garden info from Stacy, and it looks like it's this video. So there's no boards logo at all. So that's kind of cool. But I just said Tower Gardens are the easiest way to grow fruits and vegetables in our kitchens. There's no weeding, and this vertical garden actually waters itself, which is why I've been growing for over 10 years with mine. These 2 short videos show the power and possibilities to grow both indoor and outdoor year round at a fraction of the expense and time of a traditional garden. Oh, I need to add an AL. So then, so that's text that you put in. And then this is a video that you put in. So again, if this is right on their phone, they read that, they click this button, they can watch the videos, those 2 short ones. This will take them to my Tower Garden website if they want to, and then get paid to grow your own garden. In the month of September, you can become an affiliate for the Tower Garden Company at no cost to you. Share your tower on social media, send those interested a link like this, and when they order, the company sends you an affiliate check. It's the perfect way to get paid to grow your own food and inspire healthy living. The affiliate application is directed back to my website where they would sign up as a partner. And then I put some indoor Tower Garden pictures. These are all different places that I've had a Tower Garden. And so these are pictures of mine, but you could find some online if you don't have a Tower Garden. And then outdoor tower pictures. Again, these were mine. They've been outside in different places. And then a friend by her RV and a friend by her garage. She would just pull it into the garage when it was windy. And then what do you want to grow? So I had just different things that have been grown on the Tower Garden to give them an idea. It's not just lettuce. And then you can buy seedlings or you can plant your own. and are they ready to get started or want more information, to text me. So again, always ending with a question. But even within that, like that's my hopefully a volley back at the end, I'm ending with a question. But when I sent this to someone who saw a post that I had borrowed actually from Leanne Harris, that she had borrowed from somebody else, there was a lady that sent me a message, commented, "Hey, I would like some information on that." So I sent it to her. We have 2 mutual friends. I don't know her. And so I sent her the link, and then I said, "Hey, I see we have a mutual friend. How do you know Sage?" And that was my volley back to her, right? Like if I just send a link, okay, I don't know that she will do anything with that. I'm trying to get a conversation going. So that was the volley back. So let's go back here.
Stacy, is this a paid version of boards or is this the free version?
It's still in the free version. So I don't know if you guys have gotten that link to where you need to sign up to be able to get the Juice Plus discount at the end of September when they do have the paid subscription starting. I'll put that in the DMO page as well, but it is a discount at that point. But right now I'm not paying anything and I still have it. So here's how you would do it. So I'm in my own board. Oh, do you guys want to see the Juice Plus one? It was great talking with you today. I recommend the quad. I can't wait to hear what you think of these 2 videos. So there's the video, the picture of what was in Juice Plus. And I had to make the image a square because if it wasn't a square, then on the phone, it like blew it up and then you had to click on it to see it. And it wasn't that much bigger. So I added like black to it to where it was a square. And then the complete video, information about completing bars, place an order, and then information about the health study. So let's just walk through this really quick in the last couple minutes. You're on your own board. So I'm on Stacy's stuff, and then you do add, and then you add a page. Okay. So once you're in the page, it's currently empty. Oh no, don't do that. Don't say something went wrong. All right, give it a second again to pop back up here. All right, add a page. All right, well, I guess it's not going to let us show us. That's so weird. It's saying there's some error. But from adding a page, you can add the video, you can add a link, you can via a button, you name the button what you want it to say, and then that's the link. You can add just an image, but it was really pretty easy. It took me maybe 20 minutes to build it because I was thinking about the verbiage. So if you guys want to use my verbiage, I'll share both of the links to my Juice Plus one and the Tower Garden one. So you can just copy and paste if you want to. Make it your own and choose what videos you want. But it was really pretty simple. And I have made websites. I have a website, a couple of them. So this is way easier and, way cheaper than what you would pay for a landing page to a website. And you're directing them to the information you want them to have and what you want them to know. So I don't know why it's saying that on mine, but I'm not sure what to do with that one, but it's really pretty easy. Once you kind of play around with it, you'll see, okay, that wasn't that hard. And it's, just click from in your phone is where I did it versus on my computer. So do you guys have any questions about that?
So what you're saying is that this is like a landing page that would have like links to your Juice Plus website, the videos, all like in one scrollable like website.
Right.
Is that what you're saying? And then as far as the payment of boards, are they changing it so that we all have had it for free, but it is going to start costing us to have access to boards? So we do need to, I know Nancy was asking me, why would we need to purchase boards?
So I know I know it'll have more features. You'll, with the paid version, you're able to have your own. And right now we've been in sort of like a test group where they had it free for everyone as they worked out the bugs and they learned like what did people need and how would it best serve their business. So they've had it free for all of us to kind of play around, and we've learned and they've learned. But I mean, they are a business, and so that's why the paid version will be there. So I think it'll just have a lot more options. Like Voxer, you can get it for free, but if you want to be able to recall the message where you click the button and had your phone in your purse and it recorded a conversation for 15 minutes, done that, then you can recall that if you pay the $3 a month. So I'm not sure how much it's going to cost, and it probably will be different levels of what you'll be able to do with the different features, but there will still always be a free version. And like on this one where you can share just the getting started, you can send this page to someone, even if they don't have boards, they're able to get to this page. I don't know if you guys knew that. So you can share a page to them like this, or I guess this folder. These are folders. So I don't know. I think this is a page. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what that would be called, but you can send just this to them and they can access all of this, even if they don't have boards yet. That's what Julie had told us. So then that can introduce it to them without, like, there's no reason to send a brand new person the Campbell team boards. There's just not. It's too much. They don't need to know all of that. You could do the welcome if you wanted to, send them that, or like specifically how to use boards. But the real one is getting them into activity is going to be the getting started. So and I think even that is going to depend on how independent that person is. So sometimes you can give a step to a new team member and they're like, oh, I already did that. And I did X, Y, Z as well. And then you're like, what? You did that? I didn't even tell you to do that. And they're like, I did that. So that type of person would love something like this, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, go down that list. They read it, they'll click through, they'll do it. There's going to be somebody else that's like, I want you to show me how to place an order. I want you to explain how do I get to Partner Plus? I need to see something else. So, you're going to read your new team members, what do they need? But for somebody who's a self-starter, like they just give me the information and I'll do it. This is great. So, all right, I'll stop sharing with that. Any other questions you guys have?
This was fabulous. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, girls. All right, I'm going to hop on the NMD call. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Bye, ladies.
Bye.